You're watching the Harbourtown History Freak on Haligonia.ca. This is Halifax. It's over 259 years old, and it's home to just under 400,000 people. And it is alive with history. And I'm the guy who's going to show it to you. My name is Tim Johnson, and I am the Harbourtown History Freak. A wise man once said, the truth is out there. Well, that may in fact be true, but for one spooky autumn night, the truth, or something maybe just as mysterious, came to Nova Scotia. In a single incident, worldwide interest would be turned on the harbour town and the surrounding area. Russia had Dalnagorsk. Britain had Rendlesham Forest. The United States had Roswell. And Canada had the Shag Harbour incident. October 4th, 1967. Began like any other night, people going around their usual business. But something strange was about to happen. By 7:50, on the outskirts of Halifax near Shearwater Air Base, two brothers spotted something strange in the sky. There were a series of bright, glowing orbs that seemed to travel together in formation, but without any audible modes of propulsion. One of the brothers, William T. Bowe, worked at Shearwater Air Base and was familiar with aircraft. He was pretty sure that these were no aircraft. Just over an hour later, a fishing ship 20 miles off the coast of Samborough Island at the mouth of Halifax Harbour saw something strange as well. The whole crew, about 19 people, noticed that there were four glowing, brightly moving objects in the sky, a series of orbs that seemed to fly in formation. They even saw it on radar where it showed up as a boxy formation of four individual dots. The captain, Leo Mersey, was suitably disturbed. So he did what any sane man would do. He called into Halifax and see if there was some kind of military exercise or civilian aircraft. Well, they radioed back and said no, it wasn't. Nothing was in the area that night. By 10 o'clock, Haligonian residents started to understand that something weird was going on. TV stations, radio, newspapers started to get flooded with calls about strange lights hovering over the harbor. One woman who was on Water Street behind us recalled that she saw a strange, glowing orange, reddish light hovering around Halifax Harbor. The object was big, she said, and she wasn't alone in her sightings. One notable witness was the 12-year-old boy by the name of Chris Stiles. Now, Mr. Stiles would go on to become one of the chief investigators of the events that occurred on October 4th, 1967. By 10:30, a lot of people in Halifax had seen the object, but it was starting to drift along the coastline, down towards the south end of Nova Scotia, around Yarmouth. People along the way started calling to reports about the strange, glowing series of orbs flying through the sky. These included game wardens, an RCMP officer, and a handful of authentic and cutesy Atlantic Canadian stereotypes who just happened to be watching from the shore. By 11:20, what was bizarre very quickly became surreal. In full view of a couple of witnesses, the UFO, as it was now being called, started a bizarre series of 45-degree descents where it stopped and then descended again. After a while, it slammed into the water of Shag Harbour with a lot of force because the sound and what sounded like an explosion or a giant whoosh, whoosh was heard for quite a distance around. It actually brought other people to the scene. By the name of Laurie Wickens was afraid that it was actually a downed airliner. See, no one had known what was going on and no one had heard about the events that had happened in Halifax. So of course the first thing they did was they rushed to their boats, contact the RCMP, thinking that there was someone in need of assistance, someone who was in trouble. But when they got there, they found something very different. They saw a strange yellow pale light floating on the surface of the water before subtly sinking below the depths. The RCMP officers at the scene did what any sane man would do. They called RCMP headquarters in Halifax. RCMP headquarters in Halifax had no idea what the hell was going on. So of course they did the next best thing. They called RCMP headquarters in Ottawa. RCMP headquarters in Ottawa had no idea what the hell was going on either. So they did the only sane thing. They called the Canadian Air Command and they filed what is commonly called a UFO report. Meanwhile, civilian searchers and the Coast Guard have been combing the waters of Shag Harbour, but so far turned up nothing. Eventually, the RCMP and the military showed up. The Navy called in a team of divers who were ordered to comb the harbor's floor. But very soon, by October 6th, the RCMP, the military, began to cordon off the area and comb the beaches around Shag Harbour. It looks like the beginnings of a cover-up had arrived. By October 9th, the military had officially declared the crashed object a UFO, but they wouldn't release any more information. They just kind of kept towing the same "we don't have any comment" kind of line. Well, by October 9th, the search was pretty much called off. The military claimed they hadn't found anything. All they had come across was a strange yellowish foam floating on top of the harbor's surface. But of course, in the time since that, other allegations have arisen. Stories of another secret military search in Shelburne Bay, a nearby body of water. Secret U.S. submarines moving about in the area. NATO commandos combing the beach looking for survivors. I mean, it's all there, but there's no hard evidence that much of these things actually happened. Nonetheless, they've gone down in folklore and urban myth as something strange, exotic, and downright spooky. So what was the truth about Shag Harbour? Well, no one really knows. It could have been a mass hallucination, a natural astrologic phenomena, or maybe a secret government project. Hey, there's even a chance it was an intergalactic Cadillac out for a ride. Hey, I'm not one to judge, but I do have a crazy theory, if you'll indulge me. What if Earth was being watched by strange and curious beings from a world far away from our own? What if they were using our communications and media to do so? And this being the 1960s, had fallen in love with our perceived freedoms and somewhat relaxed attitude towards sexual mores at the time. I mean, hey, this was an era when shag referred to something else besides carpeting, in a manner of speaking. So maybe these curious and somewhat randy intergalactic visitors got confused, and in their search for an earthly paradise, instead found the cold Atlantic shore. Not quite what you're looking for when you stop off a place called Shag. Well, until next time, my name is Tim Johnson. I am the Harbortown History Freak, and keep your eyes open. They're out there somewhere. You've been watching the Harbortown History Freak on Halagonia.ca. You're welcome.